Ceann I'm delighted to be here to speak on this motion here tonight, obviously against it, and despite the political opportunism attached to this motion on the reorganisation of our defence forces, I welcome the opportunity to speak about the adverse effects which any downgrading of Stephen's Barracks in Kilkenny will have for my constituents and for the strategic position of our National Army in the south east of Ireland. The wind is gone from the sail of this motion because Fianna Fáil in government consistently refused to give any absolute commitment of specific barrack retention in the past. In fact, this is a matter of public record and is established practice. They supported the consolidation of Defence Force units into a smaller number of locations as their objective to maximise the efficiency of our defence forces. In setting up the current review of public service numbers in January 2010, the previous government, under its employment control framework, cast out on a continued presence into the future of a viable unit of our defence forces in Kilkenny. Taking note of the number of questions raised in the past by other Dáil members about the future of James Stephens, it is obvious that the uncertainty has been around this barracks for some considerable time. Now that the Chief of Staff of Defence has carried out a series of internal briefings to reduce one battalion by decreasing the numbers in one of the infantry battalions in each of the 3 brigades, it is important that the government is made aware of the need to maintain a regional balance in any agreed outcome. Anyway, it is not an operational benefit to retain a strategic regional army presence in the south east based in Kilkenny, is it not? I understand that the suggested consolidation plan is to increase the numbers in 2 battalions by reducing the numbers in the 3rd. In fact, this will be a downgrading a battalion which is termed as a training unit with limited resources and scope. Perhaps the real value of the Army resource is a civil supporting role which was not fully appreciated until the recent winters when we've had those really severe weather conditions last year. For example, in January this year, the Army stood ready to provide vital assistance to the people of the South East. Their assistance was needed to address what was a national emergency at a time when there was not adequate response from central government. The plight of many of my constituents, both in Kilkenny and Carlow, particularly those living in remote and upland areas, owe a great debt to the Defence Forces for their expertise and the provision of specialist vehicles to the local authorities, to the health and community care interests also.
Deputy, 2 minutes remaining.
I know of the vital emergency support role the forces played during the bad weather periods in moving patients, medical staff and supplies where poor road conditions prevailed. It's no use telling the whole region that the vital assistance is elsewhere available in Dublin, Cork or Limerick. Stephen's Barracks in Kilkenny has provided steady employment to both military and civilian families alike. The city and county has lost a number of its high-profile, intensive industries in recent years. Any reductions in Army personnel will have a disproportionate effect on the lives and the livelihoods in my constituency, in a region that already has the lowest per capita standard of living than elsewhere in the country. As a component part of the 1st Southern Brigade, Kilkenny is rich in accommodation and ancillary facilities, so that the final challenge to meet expansion there is lessened. Critically, in these austere times, viability has to be one of the principal considerations in any decision. It goes without saying that any rubber stamping by this government to any recommendations by senior Defence Force management has to be based on costs. To summarise my contribution, Ceann, I've set out my views based on 2 aspects of the motion tonight. One, I've set out clear reasons why Dáil colleagues who are not burdened with barrack closures in their constituency should support the viable and strategic regional retention of James Stephens Barracks in Kilkenny. And 2, I am rejecting this motion tonight because Fianna Fáil, acting like prima donnas, are responsible for the present difficulties. This small, proud country struggling to maintain its sovereignty is playing a commendable role in international peacekeeping and deserves better than this cynical, opportunistic motion tonight.